Okay everyone, so because this process took a few hours and the audio quality wasn't great, I'm going to go ahead and just narrate this myself. So here I am doing my HalloweenTown, and these are the paints that I'll be using. Some dark grays, some glittery colors, and then some paints that my boyfriend uses to paint his figures. So here I have a styrofoam piece that I got specifically for this tank, and again, this tank is my bearded dragon's old tank that she grew out of. So that's what I did, and I just fit it to there. I used some liquid nails to glue that down to the bottom of that tank. Okay, so like I said, liquid nails, and it takes seconds to dry, so it's really awesome and very, very sturdy, since this will be the base that your whole town sits on. So the background and the sides here, I will be covering. I'm not sure about the sides yet, but definitely the background with some kind of wallpapering. So again, those are my paints, some of the palettes that I'm using there. I have about 4 or 5 there. So as you guys will see in a little bit, that was supposed to be what I used for the wallpaper, but I decided actually not to because the paneling was too difficult with single pieces. And I had 2 different choices there, the netting one and then the solid one. And yeah, it was just too hard to string them all together, so I'll talk about that in a little bit though. So this is the brush I'll be using to start coloring the base, and I will be using that brownish color just as a base, just so it kind of blends in a little bit more than obviously white would. So we're starting in with the brown, and I'm going to cover the entire base in brown. And of course the moss and things will go on top of that, as well as all of the figurines and everything. So that is the step here, and I used a lot of brown paint. I would suggest getting at least a large one, and also getting a large brush, a large thing of paint, sorry, to do that, because it definitely took a lot of paint because the styrofoam absorbs it a little bit. So here's the big one that I get. There it is. Alright, so here you will see all of my stuff laid out, and the background. So the background is obviously different because it was an absolute bitch and a half to do the paneling with those little pieces. So I was basically pulling apart strips and trying to paste them on, and that's really difficult. So in a way that makes it look neat. So I just got some construction paper and some glitter, and obviously those are my moss pieces. But yeah, I got some construction paper and glitter, and I just glued the entire panel as one panel, and it was so much less stressful. Here are all of my objects. I have a cemetery gate, I have some spiders, my house that lights up, and some other objects there, my witch, trees, all that stuff. So I went ahead and started setting things in just to get an example of what it would look like, and I'm putting the green glow-in-the-dark salts into my vial. Those are an example of the strips and why I did not use them. They were beautiful material, and you know, obviously it looked like it would work, but it just got really messy, and you can see like the glue and everything on the black, so that just didn't work out. Alright, so I know it looks like I skipped way ahead here, but it did take a while. So basically I just set down the moss, and what I used was these spray adhesive, and I think it's Elmer's, I'll show you guys just in a second, and I sprayed it where I wanted the moss, and only where I wanted the moss, so I didn't waste it, and put down the moss, just kind of randomly. I wasn't sure what it was going to look like. Then I went ahead and put some toothpicks, I glued some toothpicks to the bottom of that fencing, and arranged it just so. Okay, so obviously that was the glue, and here I am just painting the walkway for my house with a wooden piece of wood that I used, and I'm just painting that a black color, and I'll go over it with some other detail, and I'll be gluing that down as well. But I will be putting the moss down first, a little bit around the edges, and kind of going back and forth. So again, using that glue to put some more moss down, and I obviously have different colors to make it a little more autumn, fall, dead wood looking, and I'll put a little bit more green within. Alright, so here we go with a different color, the gray moss. So of course I got all this at Michael's, and it was relatively cheap. I think it was about $3 or something in the Halloween section. So the thing about this stuff though is that it doesn't pull apart very easily. So you want to try to use it in like a central location and not try to pull it too much because it gets really messy. And so here I am just spreading it around the back of my house. So my idea here was to make it my backyard, I guess, in a way, and sort of contrast the green graveyard moss with some of the gray. So there's the gray there, and it looks very messy at first, and I was a little worried when I started doing it, but once I started kind of flattening it out and moving it around a little bit, it worked out a little bit better. You can probably hear my bird yelling in the background right now. So again, just kind of, I moved my house a few times just to see where it would sit well. I really wish you guys could hear the background noise because I was watching The Conjuring 2 and that cool Crooked Man song is on. So I didn't glue the bottom of the house because that on and off switch is at the bottom and it really makes a difference to have the light on. Here I am just further arranging the moss, and I put it down that orangish looking autumny moss, and again just gluing it with that adhesive, that spray adhesive. And I even spray the tops of the moss so that I can layer it further with like a little bit of green or a little bit of gray or what have you. Whatever you decide is fine. But again, just make sure you spray the adhesive because otherwise it'll look like it's in there tight, but it's really not. So yeah, just sprinkling the green on there. Again, this was a little bit of a weird process for me because I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out, but just get creative. Spray your heart away and put whatever moss you want to put wherever. I have streaks of glue from my glue gun all over my jacket in that shot. Alright, so from here on out I started decorating the witch's area with her witch and her brew. The witch and her brew, rather. And went ahead and plopped those guys in. They already had toothpicks glued to the bottom of them. And you might want to put maybe 2 or 3 on the brew, just because it's heavy. And then I put in my orange tree to the corner there. I am going to get more trees in the future when I go back to Joann's. That's where I got them. And put some more trees in the background and stuff to create a more foresty aspect. But at the moment this was all I had. And I did go ahead and glue some sticks onto the bottom of the house on opposite corners so that they don't get too much in the way of the on switch, but that it will still stick in and kind of stick up a little bit if you wanted to make it a little taller than the back or the bottom. So yeah, I went ahead and did that with my glue gun, some hot glue. And be careful with that shit because it really hurts a lot. And yeah, that sucks to burn yourself with that. So then I went ahead and figured out where I was going to put the walkway and then glued it down with my glue gun. I didn't use the Elmer's glue just because it's wood and I wanted it to stick and have a little bit of a heavier stick. So I sprayed the top and started in with some orange glitter that looks exactly like the tree next to it. And a little heavy-handed with the glitter, but I tried to wipe off as much as I could. Or blow it off and literally wipe it off with my finger, but it didn't come off too well. So be careful with the glitter. But yeah, if that's your thing, then awesome. So, alright, then I went ahead and used some more spray adhesive to put some moss right up to the walkway. Be really careful that you don't spray adhesive directly on top of the glittered walkway, or don't bring the moss too close up because it will get all over your walkway and that gets really messy. And the green obviously shows up really well against the black. So I went ahead and put my black tree in. So the fence. The fence was actually Tyler's idea. And what I did was I painted about 4 sticks black, and then I painted 2 others black and put them, the other way across to make it look like a fence, if that makes sense. So I used 6 sticks total on each side of the walkway. And here I'm just painting the tops, letting them dry, and then I flipped them over to do the bottoms as well so it looked thorough. And as I'm letting those dry with the fan, you can see my little figures blowing. in the fan. I'm just showing you guys what it looks like. So yeah, so use about, you're gonna need about 12 sticks total, toothpicks total, and to make that fence. There is my moon, and that is going to be painted black and put up there. So Tyler got me this really awesome light. I think it's supposed to be for like your dog's collar or something, and that is going to be my moon for now, until I can figure out some kind of paper or something to put over it to make it glow a little bit more like a moon. I'm not really sure yet, so if you guys have any ideas, let me know. So that's going to glow into my graveyard, which I did intentionally. So yeah, there's my graveyard. I love the little kitty with the fishbowl. Here is quite the mess that I've made for myself, and it got worse. That's actually the better half of it. Alright, so this is actually the back side of the town. So I painted it black with just that craft paint so that it would make it a little darker in there and just make it look a little more pleasant than just like, I don't know, glass. Here's the side view that I needed to clean up with some glass cleaner, and the top, which will be covered with the construction paper that I used for the back, which is right there. So yeah, I just went to like CVS and got some, you know, construction paper or whatever. There's my cute thing. My best friend actually bought that for me a while back. And my house. So there's the walkway. I extended it out to the end of the town, and I will eventually put some wood there. There's a little step looking thing, but I don't know how I feel about it yet. So there is the gate as well. On either side, there's my witch and her brew. Her cauldron is very, very tall, but that's okay. She's like an extra witch. She's very extra. So there is the moss. I brought it all the way forward, make it a little more realistic. And there's that weird moon. Wonderful idea. I'm so thankful for my boyfriend for picking that up for me when he went to get some supplies for his stuff, but I still don't know what to do with it. So here it is. This is basically the finished product. Again, I need to put the top on, and here are some lights that I spray adhesive, glued, whatever, the lights around the entire tank. So I made sure that it stuck to each side, and I draped the cord around the side so you can plug it in. And here it is lit up and done. Everything is done. This was so fun. This was such a, you know, an outlet for my creative energy, and it just felt really good. And I just felt like I was in this town. Like I felt like I was creating a town just for myself to escape into. So this is it. I'm going to add some more things, and I'll do a video to update you guys on that. And that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching.